Thank you for thank you for being here. It's nice to see everyone. This is actually our final Transfer Tuesday session for the spring semester, and we thought we'd end with a bang with KRS and Food Science Human Nutrition. Quickly, I'd like to introduce Amy McKee. She's UH Mānoa Transfer Specialist. I'm Laurie Labarrios. I'm from Leeward Community College. And later on, we'll have Jordan Luton, our Leeward Online Counselor, join us. So thank you for being here. This is a collaborative partnership where Leeward opens it up to UHCC students so they can learn about UH Manoa programs. Today we will be starting with our KRS, or Kinesiology and Rehabilitation Sciences program from UH Manoa, where we have Dr. Brett and Da Home to share about the KRS programs, and then we'll transition to the UH Manoa Food Science Human Nutrition with Trisha Nagasawa and Dr. Sujun Jun. And I'll go ahead and introduce Amy, who's the Ka'i'e'e Bridging Counselor from the community colleges to UH Manoa.
Thanks so much, Laurie, and mahalo to everybody for joining us today. We are so excited that you're here and just want to start off with some information about UH Manoa. So UH Manoa was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We offer over 100 undergraduate degrees for you to choose from, as well as many graduate and professional degrees, including law, medicine, business, education, social work, and engineering. We are the flagship campus in the University of Hawaii system and are a highly ranked Research 1 institution, NCAA Division I school, and we strive towards being a native Hawaiian place of learning. If you are thinking of transferring to UH Manoa within the next 1 to 2 years, then we'd love for you to join the Ka'i'e'e program. The Ka'i'e'e program is a partnership between the UH community colleges and UH Manoa, and we have transfer specialists at each of the community college campuses to help students transfer smoothly and efficiently to Manoa. We also provide proactive academic advising, waiving the $70 application fee and $200 tuition deposit. We provide the option for students to take Manoa classes while they're earning their associate's degree. And we give students the ability to register early when they transfer to Manoa. The program is free to join and open to any community college student who has at least 24 transferable credits earned or in progress, a 2.0 GPA, and they must have at least 1 more semester remaining at the community college. If you are interested in joining the program, please let me know in the chat, and I'd love to connect you with further resources.
So I'd like to introduce both of them as they share about the Food Science Human Nutrition program. Thank you again.
Okay, this is Food Science and Human Nutrition. I'm not for sure how many audience we have. But Trisha, you can jump in anytime you want. This is Sujin Jun. I'm professor at the HAMFES. It's kind of initial. It's a human nutrition, food and animal science department at the UH Mānoa campus. So our program has the FSHN, which is a food science and human nutrition, and then animal science and separate two undergrad program. Plus, about 2 or 3 years ago, dietetics has been separated out from the FSHN. So now they have a separate undergrad program. So total, the 3 programs. So FSHN, animal science, and dietetics undergrad program under the same umbrella, the mother program. For the FSHN, we have a food processing, and we talk about the regulation and sports awareness, the business and health. Under the FSHN, we have 5 tracks. One is pre-professional nutrition, human nutrition. Actually, human nutrition track has 2 different options. One is a pre-professional, and the other one is the sports awareness. The other side of food science actually have 3 options. Sometimes we call this a tracks and sometimes an option. Pre-professional and business and culinology. And for the human nutrition, pre-professional is more like the students who want to go for maybe master or PhD program later on, they are fit into that track. And then we also have a separate sports and wellness program under human nutrition. And same way for food science, we have a pre-professional with two of our students who want to go for a master and PhD program later on. And then we have a business option. So the students who want to have a job in the local, or it doesn't need to be a local. I mean, food industry, private sector, this track would be the best fit. And then we also have a culinology program, which has sort of a combined program with the associate degree from KCC Culinary Arts. So maybe Tricia can have some story on the top on the culinology program. Tricia?
Yes. So, um, again, my name is Trisha Nagasa. I was previously a student at KCC in the Culinary Arts program. And UH Manoa has a partnership with the culinary program that if you obtain, so at KCC, there's three culinary programs. There's culinary arts, pastry arts, and institutional food service management. You need the institutional food service management to transfer over to the culinology program at UH Manoa. So that is what I had to do. Um, and it's kind of a continuation. So culinology is the combination of culinary arts as well as food science. So I guess an easier term would be like when you apply like gastronomy, you use like the different sciences to create new food products. So like when people use like liquid nitrogen to freeze food instantly, or the spherification process where you um, add gelatin or thickeners to liquids to turn them into spheres. That's kind of what culinology is. I can also give some other information about the other tracks if anyone is interested, but let's actually continue with this.
All right, thank you. So, so what is a food science? This is study about the physical, chemical, biological kind of composition of the food, and you have to develop certain concept for food processing and preservation. Um, IFT is, I mean, the full name of IFT is the Institute of Food Technologies. This is a kind of a nonprofit, the food scientist organization. We have about maybe 40, 50,000 membership. This is an international meeting. You also have a accredited the standard for degree of the food science. So when you look at this screen, we have a chemistry. It's like a triangle. So we have a chemistry element and a microbiology element, and then processing here. So so our curriculum is based on what the IFT requires us to do, so that our our alumni out of the program should be qualified to work on the food industry, as well as a lot of different places include following the aspect. So you guys can get a job in the FDA, the USDA, and state job is a department head. We have a lot of students in there, and a couple of students are working at the CDC for the microbiology and the foodborne the virus study, and Department of Agriculture too, and a lot of private sector. You know, you may be interested in working in the PepsiCo. They are not going to just make it Pepsi Co. And it's so many the sister companies under PepsiCo group. And of course, if you want to find a job in the local, there's Hawaiian Host and the Diamond Bakery. So now the Tricia is doing an internship at the Diamond Bakery. Maybe she can talk a little bit about your internship experience a little bit, Tricia?
Of course. So like many other, like at KCC, we also had to do an internship where we had to work in like a restaurant or like a bakery, particularly to whatever track we're studying. So at UH Manoa, we also have to do an internship in a field area where we are working, where we want to be. So my internship studying or kind of like doing quality assurance or making sure all the food is safe, meets certain standards, and that the quality of food is met every single time for every single batch. I'm also working with like new food product development. So at Diamond Bakery, we're researching different types of cookie and cracker flavors to see what we can put out, and then we'll work with like our food science business team to see if they can start marketing, doing research, sensory evaluation, and eventually, after all that process is done, a new cracker cookie product will be made. So that's kind of what my internship is at right now.
Pretty cool. Yeah, but internship opportunity is pretty plenty in this island. It's also, I'm seeing a couple of alumni, they trying to get a job in the mainland. For example, I know a couple of students got a job in the Abbott, um, and then the Unilever. This is such a big company. Of course, the PepsiCo I told you, and then the P&G. And oftentimes we made a field trip to the Hawaiian Host and Diamond Bakery and Hawaii Poi company and Honolulu Cookie Company and such. So I'm seeing a lot of students actually that work in the local food industry here. So where the food science work? I mean, as you can see, the food the processor and ingredient manufacturer, for example, flavor thing. There are a lot of major company which produce the flavor. Our students are really key workers in that company too, and academia and food service, food retailer, and government. Like I said, we have a bunch of people in the state, like a Department of Health or Department of Agriculture, and even you are able to get a job in the food equipment manufacturers. For example, heat exchanger, a spray dryer, those kind of equipment manufacturers that can be your home for your professional career. And then scientific organization, for example, the R&D center to analyze the food compositions that can be your home after graduation. Our curriculum, the program, the spreadsheet, and all the core course you have to take is in the UH Mānoa website. For example, this is for a food science track, the food science track, and then we have let's say business section, and then pre-professional section, and then we have a separate career knowledge option in a different document. You can see some of a biology requirement, which is sort of a UH requirement, and we have a certain sequence of chemistry from the general chem and organic chem, maybe organic chem 2, and we have also a sequence of a math. But I'm pretty sure you guys can take the 140 and then done with that the math requirement. And move on to our core requirement in food science. You have to take a 181, a 185, a 381, which is the experimental food, and we have a 403, which is the food microbiology. And then we have a food quality control, and then food processing such. So I will talk about this a little bit later on. For the business option, we want you to take some class in the business, the College of Business, so like 312 and 315. Trisha, did you had to take the business class like a 312 and 315 in cardiology or?
It's not required, but I did take some business classes to learn more.
Okay, how was the class?
They talk about organizations. They'll teach you like what it takes to become a manager and what managers have to go through, not just what their steps, but like time management, um, taking into account of workers, um, like what the workers go through, their environment, and making sure that the manager meets not only the workers' duties, but also their supervisor's duties as expectations as well.
That's pretty good. Okay, thank you. And for the pre-professional option, you guys maybe have to take a little bit advanced chemistry, math, and physics because they are kind of core requirement for when you go for master and PhD program in any other school, not only here but also in the mainland. Courses, we have a food chemistry, food microbiology, and food processing and engineering, and a human nutrition class. And I do offer a food quality control and then experimental food. 181 is a fun class. It's not cooking class. We really talk more about science beyond the cooking. So students they use our certified kitchen to come up with a lot of experimental food, also the traditional food cooking too. I'm not quite sure what has been done here, but maybe Trisha, is this what you made here? No, I guess not, right? Yeah.
No, because I attended KCC.
Yes, so maybe you don't need to.
We took different courses.
Yeah. The experimental food is the FSHN of 381, and it has a lecture part and then the lab part, which is oral communication as well as the writing intensive. So you guys have come up with certain term project and have a presentation on your the product, the development, and then oftentimes they came up with the sensory evaluation. So we participated in and some the score for individual category they developed for the new product. I don't know much about this gyoza thing, but I remember they came up with a certain criteria and then let us have the sensory evaluation on it. We also have this course for the food service system management. Um, so it's not just just a food itself. It's kind of open eyes on how to manage the food service industry. So this is more closer to what the business school offer. We also offer the food quality control, which is FSHN of 445. They talk about the quality control, quality assurance, and what is the GMP, HACCP plan, and what is the current food law and regulation and such a thing. So the student actually develop their virtual food factory and then come up with the sanitation protocol. So I remember Trisha developed this. What was it? Is it bakery company? I forget it.
It was a pretzel factory.
Huh?
That was a pretzel factory.
Oh yeah. So yeah, she designed this virtual factory and came up with the realistic sanitation protocol. And we also have a food processing class, which is a FSHN 460. Now we we talk about you know just typical the food processing techniques, and as you can see, this what is it, free drying, the vacuum dry, and the fermentation. We made the kimchi thing right here. and we made a certain field trip to Hawaiian Host. And this is not processing class, but this is a part of the lab activity in food engineering. They as you came up with the friction energy estimation and such. So since this is sort of the COVID pandemic circumstance, we're trying to have the limited number participate in this in-person lab activity. Okay, dietetics program. I'm not the right person to talk about this. We have a directors for dietetics program, which is Dr. Monica Escobar. She's not here today, but if you have any question about dietetics, you're welcome to uh, send an email to her, or you can send me email. I can transfer your email to her. Um, they have a very strong dietetics program here. We might be the only one program in this state. So where do the registered dietitian work? In a hospital, outpatient office, and government, and certain dialysis center, and the school system. I know the one of my alumni, he worked in the cafeteria program in Punao School, private sector. This is what RD does. There's a course requirement. Yeah, the nutrition assessment and field experience is sort of an internship program, and the lifespan nutrition, community nutrition, and medical nutrition therapy 1, 2, the nutrition, the counseling, and sports nutrition. Those are kind of key element, which is the regulated by ASCEND, which is kind of what it called accrediting a program to control of the dietetics program in this nation. So pathway to the RD, you have to complete it, your academic requirement, and you must have a supervised practice requirement, which is an internship, and you registered the exam and pass it. But I heard that in 2024, probably the graduate degree, minimum master degree would be required for your RD, the pathway. So that's what I heard. You heard about the Tesla, their Mars plan. The spaceship is pretty amazing, but there's a lot of things we have to do as a food scientist. For example, the space food. So who is making that one? Is us, the food scientists. If you want to know more about the FSHN web, the information, we have a website here under our department, and also you can contact me for further the questions if you have any. All right. Okay. Thanks for your attention. Any question?
Thank you so much, Dr. June and Trisha, for providing so much information about the Food Science Human Nutrition Program. Those courses sound amazing. And yeah, I guess my first question is for the 181 class, I know it's not a cooking class, but should students have any prior cooking experience to starting it, or will they learn some of those skills along the way?
Truly not. I mean, I don't know much about the nature of 181. As a cooking, it's not what you can expect from the chef or the culinary art in the cases. Trisha, you want to add something?
No, for 181, it's very much like a beginner refresher course. It's not, they're not expecting you to like cut an onion super fast, make it julienne, or being able to like peel peel a potato with using a knife. They're not expecting any of that. The main purpose of the course is to understand how food reacts to certain things in a certain way. So like why apples turn brown through oxidization, how meat, what is that? Oh, how meat like reacts to heat. It's very much like understanding food and how it goes through the certain processes. So you don't really need to be like a professional chef or have prior culinary knowledge. Most of the students don't really have much. If anything, they're all like home cooks, so that's perfectly fine. As long as you hold a knife and not cut yourself.
Thank you. We had a question come up in the chat. So the question is, when would you advise a student interested in sports nutrition to go via the KRS route versus the nutrition route? I know there are a lot of crossover of classes in those pathways.
That's very true. I think the best person who can answer to this is Dr. Alan Ticino, because he's one of his 400 level classes had a kind of mixed the major between us, the nutrition major, and the KRS major. So the Stephanie, I mean, I definitely gonna forward your question to the Dr. Ticino and then let him contact you later on. Since I'm a food science faculty, I don't know much about. I don't think I'm in the position to answer to your question. Trisha, you know anything about this?
Um, I would say it really just depends on how you feel, Stefan. Because I have some classmates who are in the sports and wellness program. They're very passionate just about like they love sports and they want to be able to understand what nutrition, like how much how much iron, how much calories, how much whatever macro or micronutrients they need in order to fully function. So, but that kind of also goes more into like the dietetics program about understanding what a person needs in order to function. Well, I believe the KRS program was more about like kinesiology and understanding the physical like properties of a human body. I wasn't 100% sure. Please don't quote me on this. Um, but I guess it really just depends on what parts of like sports and wellness you are very much interested in. If you're more interested in like the human body, I would say like then you would diverge into the KRS track, or if you're more interested in like, oh, like what foods people should eat, how to make certain foods for athletes, then you might want to go into the sports and wellness track. But that's my opinion.
Also, once you in our the nutrition track, let's say for example the sports nutrition, there are a bunch of diversity within this campus. So you may be able to think about tilting your pathway to dietetics, or you can go further with the pre-professional, or you can think about moving toward to food science. So there are a lot of option ahead of you when you're in the nutrition unit. But once you into the KRS, because different totally different curriculum map, you may not able to jump in into dietetics or pre-professional option later on. So to think about the flexibility versus you know I don't know, it's hard to say. But like I said, our program maybe provide more flexibility.
Thank you so much for helping to answer that question and shed some more light about the similarities, but also differences with the two programs. I have that question about food science actually, and the culinology program. I'm curious to know like how many students from KCC have like gone through the pathway so far, and especially Trisha, if you want to talk more about your experiences of like what was it like to transfer from KCC into this program and apply your skills.
I am currently the third person to go through the culinology track. After me, there were three more students who also joined. The very first person to graduate from our program was Alan. He graduated last year, and he was the very first one to go through the entire program from KCC to UH Manoa. But um, I'm actually the first student to go through it continuously from straight from high school to KCC and then to UH Manoa, because Alan actually took a break because the culinology program is very new. It just started like 2 years ago, so it's it's like a baby chick. It's slowly growing. Um, the transfer process for me was quite um, easy, though I did have to do a lot of manual work myself. I had to look up what classes I needed to transfer, if I could take any classes from KCC or LCC, which I do highly recommend for any transfer student. Look and see what classes you can take at KCC or LCC or any of the other CCs, because it is much cheaper. And the the course the classes you get are just as good at the community colleges. If not, I think it's better because you're in a much smaller setting. I only had like maybe 30 students in my chemistry class, while some of my classmates had like 90 students in their chemistry class. So I personally feel like a smaller setting was more intimate. I got to know more, and I wasn't afraid to ask my professor questions if I needed to, rather than asking my classmates their questions because I was so intimidated by the amount of numbers that was in my lecture halls. Um, so yeah, your counselors are always going to be your best friend when you're transferring. You you'll work with your community college counselor a lot because they'll really push you to get your bachelor degree. They'll do whatever they can to make sure all your credits transfer, and your UH Manoa counselors as well. They'll they'll always check on you all the time every semester. They'll always like look, oh, are you taking this class? You can take this class next semester, or recommend like if you're not used to the amount of workload. Like KCCA was very relaxed when I was going there, and I didn't have a lot of like papers or reports to write. But at UH Manoa, I had to change my mindset that I had to be able to take on a bigger load of homework and be more responsible. So that's one thing you need to be aware of. I think that's all from my experience.
I wanna point out the two things. One is for the KCC and UHM joint culinary program require uh, you to have the you know associate degree in the culinary art in KCC. But now we have a certain momentum to make this door a little bit open wider. So if you guys have a, let's say, I have associate degree from uh, culinary arts in somewhere in the mainland, then we can take a look at the what course they took, and there's a lot of there's a pretty much a good consistency that the KCC offer. Then we're willing to accept those students for our culinary program. So that's what I want to say. And then second one is, not just the culinary art. If we have a several the transfer students from KCC who are interested in our different tracks under food science or human nutrition. So maybe business model might be good for them, or pre-professional model could be them. So it doesn't need to be confined to culinary art, the students at KCC.
Oh, thank you. That's really glad to hear. Um, I had this one Leeward student who's in culinary arts in the EAEA program also, but we were told he had to only be from KCC. So he transferred to KCC. Now he's ready to leap over to you folks. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it
but it's
hasn't
okay. It
been an
worked out.
issue for many years, and we didn't come up with the written renewal of the MOA at this point, not yet, but we kind of looking for that kind of opportunity, you know, hey, why don't you make this door wider, you know, so that the more students are coming in.
Yeah, I love hearing that. Are you folks planning to have an MOA in the works with Leeward for their culinary program?
That's a possible. Or when we renew the KCC MOA, we can just make it clear that any, you know, any school in this state can jump it in and join. I don't know for sure, you know, how many chancellors need to sign the renewal of any MOA, but it seems like we are pretty much open-minded for that option.
Ooh, that's so exciting to hear. Yeah, thank you, Dr. June.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lori, do you have any questions?
No, that was very informative. Thank you. I didn't realize how deep food science nutrition goes. So thank you so much. I do hope that Cecily, if you're still on, that you get in touch with, is it Monica, Dr. Sujin? Was she the registered dietitian? Yeah.
Yes.
So let us know if you need, or let Dr. Sujin know if you need her email. But
yeah, I hope that they can join, but they have I think they have some time conflict with their teaching
okay.
at this point, so sorry.
Yeah. Thank you.
Jordan, did you have any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Well, Dr. June and Trisha, are there any final thoughts you want to leave our folks with today?
This is the first time to join this transfer student workshop. I wish I can participate in next year too. I don't know how often you guys hope, you know, have this opportunity for us, but I'm kind of willing to be exposed to you know, more of a student, so that you know, number one, I want to strengthen our program, and number two, I want to see more students in our program. Because a lot of demand from a food industry, but we are not able to make it because there's kind of the shortage of our student, the graduation. So I'm willing to do whatever I can do.
Thank you, Dr. June. That's so encouraging to hear. And yeah, email me. We'll find ways to plug you in to get more exposure.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And Trisha, did you have any final thoughts you wanted to leave folks with?
I would just want to say be open-minded, because you not to say like you might switch your tracks, but just be like, if you take a class and you really like it, don't be afraid to change your major. Like if you really want to go for it, like the world is full of so many possibilities, and you never know where you'll end up. Because it could just start with a class that you find interesting, and then you might fall down a rabbit hole and be like a, I don't know, like a scientist or a doctor or something. But be open-minded for anything that could happen.
Thank you.
Yeah, in the past, we actually visit the KCC campus and trying to meet the students. But if you think that is a variable, then our faculty member are willing to stop by. Maybe it may be tough at this difficult time, but you know, if you can make those kind of opportunity, we're willing to go and talk to your students.
Wonderful, thank you. And if you folks wouldn't mind, Dr. June and Trisha, to put your emails into the chat, maybe some of our students can get in contact with you that way.
Sure.
All right, and Laura, you want to close us out?
Oh, sure. So thank you again to KRS and also Food Science Human Nutrition, Sojin and Trisha. We really do appreciate it. I hope the ones who attended and those who are going to be watching these future videos, if you have any questions, please do reach out to contact us at Leeward or at UH Manoa. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, thank you so much to everybody for supporting the Transfer Tuesday webinar series. We will definitely be getting these videos onto YouTube shortly.